Yo, what's going on, guys? Franks here. I'm going to be talking about isolation today. So, I feel like this is a very important topic I talk about. And I'm going to be telling you guys things about isolation they don't really tell you about. So, be straightforward with you guys. I know you guys see on the media, you might see two areas. You might see the positive things people say about isolation, and you might see the negative things people say about isolation. But I'm going to be telling you guys both of those. And I'm going to be telling you guys the truth about isolation. So, first of all, if you're going to be isolated, the only reason you should be isolated is if you're going to improve yourself. If you're going to be isolated and you're not going to improve yourself, there's no point because you're not going to grow at all. So, if you're going to be using isolation to dial in and lock in on your goals, whether it's a business, um, making money, creating content, um, gym, or whatever it might be, or just finding yourself and doing some kind of self discovery and spending time by yourself, um, that's going to be good. That's going to help you elevate. Um, and a lot of people use isolation. They are in isolation, but they aren't growing and improving, and they're holding themselves back. They're staying at home. They're not doing anything. They're sitting down. They're not working out. They're just sitting there, and they're not getting any kind of socialization. And all that's doing is just push them back. So, what I will say, the main truth about isolation is that if you are going to be isolated, you need to know that the only benefit is improvement. The only thing is improvement. The only thing you should be focusing on is improvement. That's the only benefit you should be looking for. If you're not going to be looking at that, if you're not going to be participating in growing yourself, you should not be isolating because you're going to be holding yourself back and you're going to be falling behind. And that's going to negatively impact you. So the only reason you should be isolating is it to grow and improve. And you shouldn't even really be isolating. That's why I say this. You shouldn't really be isolating. I wouldn't promote isolation at all, to be honest. I think we all need to be outside, socializing, doing stuff. But the only reason I'd isolate is if it's good for your mental health, short period breaks, you know, in your house or wherever it might be, just taking some time off, relaxing, just by yourself. There's nothing bad about that at all. Nothing bad about that at all. But I will say, if you're doing that for prolonged periods of time and you're not getting any social integration, which is very good for the mind, you will be falling behind. You will be lacking that socialization that you need as a human being, and it will not be good for you mentally. So, if you're going months and months without talking to a single person or just barely talking to anybody, it might affect your mental health. You got to realize that just a little bit of socialization, just a little bit, it will help you out. So that's what I will say. And the main aspect is isolation, to focus on yourself and achieving a goal is one of the most best ways you can use isolation as an advantage. And that's the truth about it. And what I will say is it will change your mind when you get locked in that zone in isolation. It will change your mind. You will have a new level of focus. You're cutting out distractions from the outside. It's just you locked in. You will have a different mentality. You will have a different mindset. Once you're locked in on yourself, just focusing on you, there's nothing else. It's just you in the grind, and that's something about isolation. When you're locked in like that, that will be like an amazing effect. So that's one thing I will say about isolation. But the main truth of this is that it could really negatively affect your mind if you don't use it to benefit yourself. So that's one of the main points I want to make here in this video. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. Moral of the story, man, use isolation to benefit yourself, not ruin yourself. That's all I gotta say.